You all must have heard I'm a real nerd. People say I'm a fool, but they never got the news that I'm a vile one. Oh yeah, I'm a vile one. You better turn it up, better keep the channel down, cause you're watching VileMike and his real wild child. Oh yeah, I'm a vile one. You better turn it up, better keep the channel down, cause you're watching VileMike and his real wild child.
Howdy, folks. It's VileMike here, and with me so far is Elihu, the high science guy. How you doing, man?
Good. I forgot to change my little thing. Damn it. It still says I'm an old man. Damn it. Where is it? I can't even change it. Here it is. I'm like, damn, come on. I am an old man, but still.
All right. We got a whole lot of stuff to talk about this week. Hopefully we won't delve too much into the political stuff. But, we'll see. Daddy Lion saying good morning, and then she's saying, it just occurred to me this whole thing might have been created solely for the purpose of calling his child vile. That would be true, except for the fact that I've been VileMike longer than any of my kids have been around.
That was not a denial.
Hi, Bob.
Hi, Bob.
Hey, guys. So I was watching this. I got bored with TV. So I watched this history documentary on men who made America the frontier.
Well, you grew up on men, so.
Well, yeah. Mm-hmm. Hey, man. I would have loved to have been someone like Daniel Boone. Motherfuck, man.
Hey, he was a great governor, okay? He implemented some great tax breaks for the states.
Yeah, but he's the pioneer he was the pioneer that took the first trail across the Alps to go past the Appalachians.
Well, yeah, that too, but he was also a great governor.
Oh, yeah. So, interesting fact. I didn't know this. I'm surprised this didn't come up in my history. Any of my history lessons I'd learned. But one of the things that was pissing people off in America, in the colonies, on top of the taxes and the lack of representation and everything, is the king actually decreed we cannot settle past the Alps.
Yeah.
The Appalachians, yes.
Right.
No, I did not know that. I actually did not know that. That is a piece of history I did not know. And this was really
well. If you go back and check the Declaration of Independence, because also some of the complaints that the original colonists had were the crown was being too chummy with the Native Americans. So that should tell you one thing that's not too good. And technically, the tax. Hold on, Envy. Technically, the tax was actually a tax break for businesses that were owned by the crown, and only put on other countries' companies. So it was, when they were talking about the taxes, it was technically a tax break that they were complaining about, not a tax.
Okay,
yeah, because they wanted to be independent, and British-owned companies were getting the tax breaks, and they were paying more.
And the taxes. So anyway, what happened was, so this is how this plays out. And I actually, when you said that, Mike, I'm glad you brought that up about the Declaration of Independence, because I'm going to explain why that probably was the case. So hear me out here.
What was probably the case?
Why that was probably put in. I can actually...
Which part?
The part about the English being too chummy with the Native Americans. I can actually tell you why.
Well, yeah.
It was because they were arming the Shawnee.
Probably. They were trading with them.
No, they were arming them. No, you don't know, Mike. I'm not
familiar with that, so I don't know enough about it.
Okay, well, let me explain it to you. So this judge in America I don't know how he bought this piece of land in that area over the Alps, but he did. And the thing was, you know, nobody knew how to get around the Alps because, you know, there's no roads or anything.
Appalachians, not the Alps. You keep saying the Alps.
Okay, the Appalachians. Sorry, I still call them the Alps. Dude, we called them the Alps.
I've never heard anyone call them the Alps.
They're called the Alps.
No, the Alps are a mountain range in Europe.
No. Dude,
Yeah.
Dude, I've been calling people like me have been calling the Appalachian Mountains the Alps forever. Tell me how
I have never heard anyone say that before, and I have had family who lives in Virginia.
Yeah, well, I have heard people call it that, and I've lived a lot more places. But anyway, I also
I hit the wrong button. Sorry, guys.
Okay. Anyway, understand this, Mike. Where I grew up, we don't call it an overpass over land. We call it a viaduct, and that's actually the correct term. Okay, fine. So
well,
never heard. Anyway, so what happened was this guy bought this piece of land, and he wants to explore. And what happens is, while it was illegal to settle over there, it was legal to hunt and trap. And that's where Daniel Boone comes in. Daniel Boone was hunting and trapping for 2 years over the Alps, and he was
Appalachians.
The Appalachians, fun.
You're not in Switzerland, dude. Oh, sorry.
Anyway, so he was trading for 2 years, or he was trapping for 2 years in the Appalachians. The Shawnee run him off. He loses everything he had.
Shoshone. I'll shut up.
Okay, but you know what I'm talking about. The Shawnee, you know what I'm talking about.
I know. Yes.
Okay, so cut the shit. Anyway, so this turned out to be a very interesting thing because we're still under the crown at this time. And this guy is a judge, and he just so happens to have Daniel Boone in his courtroom about ready to go to debtor's prison. In court to maybe go to debtor's prison. Just happened to be the fact that he had just spent the last 2 years in the same area where this guy bought some land and knows how to get there. So, geez, what's your options? Pay off your debt with hard labor or go or take an expedition? Which one are you going to choose? I'm taking the expedition. But one of the biggest things is the ideological differences between the colonists and the, most of the Native American, especially the Shawnee over there. It was a very interesting it was very interesting to watch this miniseries, especially those first few episodes about, how the settlement started, how the Shawnee proceeded. Now, when you asked me about the Declaration of Independence, I want to explain something to you. When Daniel Boone and his settlement finally started putting up stuff, and the Shawnee chief decided, okay, this ain't gonna work. What they did was they made a big mistake. They kidnapped 3 women or 3 young girls. One of them happened to be Daniel Boone's daughter, who was also a tracker and hunter. So he was able to find them because she was leaving a trail for him. And of course, him being an expert tracker, he knew how to find her. And word spread like wildfire that they kidnapped 3 women, and that spread through the colonies. That's kind of a scary freaking thing for us to think about. This in a society where the idea of harming a woman in such a manner is abhorrent to that culture. For something like that to happen, it's crazy. It would bother.
Yeah, but if I remember my history correctly, when it came to a lot of Native American tribes, the capturing of young women was basically something they did to start a trade, or basically it was something like, we're going to take these people, we need you to trade to get them back. It was part of their culture.
Yeah, exactly. That's where you have to run into the cultural differences. and the ideological differences. You see, the colonists, they really at that time didn't really have any interest in bothering with the Native Americans. They didn't care. They weren't interested in fighting with them. They just wanted a piece of their own because everything was already bought up. There was nothing left. So, yeah.
Well, there was plenty left. It was just not necessarily stuff that was easily arable or buildable.
And there was a natural thing in America, which we've always seen, which is we want. Okay, so whereas the Shawnee,
I was going to say, we want what other people have.
no, I'm not gonna say that.
Yeah, that's America for you.
Oh, shut up.
Come on, Andy.
Hey,
that is basically our economy.
No. Hey.
And the description of the British Museum. It's also
Hey.
the accurate description of British Museum. So,
Well, one of the things too is there was not even a talk. It was like, okay, we're going to kidnap 3 women. It's like, okay, that's your culture. We didn't understand that. Unfortunately, that didn't work for us. And by the way, they get to a point where they're trying to burn down Boone's Town. It's not called Boone's Town. It's called Boonesburg. And you know, the thing was the British had armed them. You got to understand, the British had armed them. And this wouldn't be the first time this would happen. They would do the same thing in the War of 1812. So not only were we fighting against the British, we were fighting against the entire United Indian Nation. Unfortunately, that alliance was held together by one individual. And unfortunately, when he was killed, the alliance fell apart. And that was the end of it. But yeah, it's very interesting. No, it's just very interesting to see how the timelines go. And then you have, because it was very fair. It was a very fair documentary. I give History Channel that. They didn't go biased. They gave both sides they gave every perspective. You know, the point of view of the Native Americans, the point of view of the settler, of the colonists. And it's like, and you know, the time, the area, what people knew, what they didn't know. And it's like, okay, makes a lot more sense now.
you know, I cannot find any reference or factual reference to state that Daniel Boone ever wore a raccoon skin hat.
Oh, I have I have no idea. That might just be something they came up with.
I thought that was just Davy Crockett.
I don't even remember Davy Crockett. Oh,
Yeah, they all supposed to wear raccoon skin hats, beaver hats as well. I'm like, I can't find any evidence of that. Beaver, yes. No raccoon.
You know, maybe he did have one. I mean, you got to remember these guys. Oh, one of the things, the reason why the Shawnee couldn't take the fort, and that's why they tried to burn it down with everybody in there, was because while they had been supplied weapons by the British, you have to understand, these people, while they weren't soldiers, they are hunters and trappers. They shoot small game. They know how to shoot. They're expert marksmen. So that's why that's why they couldn't get him. So they decided to try and burn it down with flame arrows, which would have worked, except for all of a sudden there was a big freaking rainstorm that stopped it, and then they found out the militia were going to be there soon. Also, the people in the town wanted retaliation, and the militia were going to go do it, and Boone was completely against it. He said, no, I don't want to do it. I mean, this is a guy, they almost burned his entire place to the ground. They kidnapped his kids, and he's like, no, I don't want to do that. And he ends up leaving and never comes back. He leaves with his oldest daughter, never comes back. He's like, I don't want to be a part of this.
Well, in that case, NB, since you seem to be so passionate about this particular documentary, maybe you should make a TikTok about it.
Yeah, will. Oh, yeah. Do you want to get your I told you so out of the way?
No, I'm not going to say I told you so, but I will accept you just saying you were right.
Oh, you were right. You were absolutely right. I mean, that was one of my better, that was one of my better viewed videos.
I still don't see the appeal of TikTok.
There's actually a lot of good information.
It's a great way to waste. It's a great way to waste 10 to 15 minutes, as far as I'm concerned.
It's also a lot easier than dealing with YouTube.
I thought that's what YouTube Shorts were for.
No, YouTube.
Well, the difference is TikTok, you can have up to like 3-minute videos, I think, on as for the length. YouTube Shorts is cut off at 60 seconds no matter what. It's either 15 seconds or 60 seconds.
Actually, and on TikTok, it's 15 seconds, 60 seconds, 3 minutes, or if you're at where I'm at, you can get up to 10 minutes. Not that I ever do a video near that long. I try to keep them no more than 2 or 3 minutes. Actually, I try to keep them on the more like the 60-second mark or the 90-second mark. Because, I mean, honestly, what's the point of doing a 20-minute video when I can get my word out very quickly in 90 seconds or something? Or, well,
the thing that annoys me the most is when someone actually has something interesting to say, and instead of posting a 3-minute video, they post 3 1-minute videos, either on Shorts or on TikTok. It's just really freaking annoying.
Oh, God.
Because it's like, now I got to go. And of course, part 2 is always the one that has the most views. So that's the one that's shown to you. So if you want to find out, what they're talking about or, get more information, you have to go to their channel and, scroll through thousands of videos in order to get to the one you want.
Yeah, I know. That is the most frustrating thing. You're just like, what the hell? Yeah, that Good Stories video got 1606. Was one of my better videos. That's one of my best ones. I've had a few good ones, but that was definitely one of the better ones because I hadn't done really any like reviews on like TV or movies or anything in quite a while.
I get more impressions on X than YouTube or anything else.
Well, I'm on YouTube.
What I think is funny is that the live things that TikTok tries to send me are some of the stuff like, why the hell are you guys sending me this? Because I don't watch those types of videos. I don't interact with those types of videos. So why are you sending me live streams of these people when I don't give a shit?
Yeah,
because China wants you to watch that.
Yeah, but it's always, either political, religious, or vegan crap. And I'm like, I don't like that shit. I don't want to hear some idiot's opinion on what I should be doing that I'm doing.
Oh, yeah. Shit.
And I don't care. Yeah, probably they paid for the promotion. I understand that, but still, it's annoying to me.
Oh, I hate those promotional videos that pop up. I'm just like, oh my God, I don't want to watch an ad. Like, if I want to watch ads, I'll go back to watching regular TV.
Dude,
yeah, that's one of the bad things about TikTok. What they'll do is they'll show like a video that is basically a ad for like an air fryer or something, and it's not necessarily a commercial like a YouTube commercial ones. You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
So you'll get that one, then you'll get a commercial, then you'll get another review of Play-Doh or something, and then you have to skip 3 videos in a row, and that's why I say I can only watch it for like 5 to 15 minutes because I'm end up only watching like 4 videos in the entire time.
I don't scroll through. I look for specific things.
Try watching Prime Video live TV. You get the exact same set of commercials over and over and over again. You play like 5-6 times in the same hour. I'm like, play some fucking different commercials, Amazon.
I don't have to do that. I have Amazon Prime.
Yeah, I do. I don't get commercials.
I don't get commercials.
I do.
Well, since we were talking about the stuff we don't really care about, as well as the paid type when they're paying to throw it in your face. NB, how do you feel about this? because either yesterday or not yesterday or the day before, I can't remember, when I had to work. I already showed Elihu these, but I'm going to show you one. I went to use the restroom, and this was in the bathroom stall.
Oh, that's very important.
What to do in case you missed the rapture?
Oh my God!
Wait till you flip it.
Now, let me show you the back.
I don't even want to try and read that.
Yeah, but I'm more referring to the sticker they added to the bottom.
Oh Lord, that's such bullshit. Why'd they attach a sticker?
It's not such bullshit. It's no more bullshit. You can't read? Wow.
Oh my Lord, the raps. Oh Lord.
Okay, so hold on.
No,
That's the one I found in the bathroom. Now remember, as part of my job, I also do the books and magazines at my stores. Okay, most of my stores. Someone had, and when I do the books, like one of the things I got to do is put all the books that people have put in the wrong spots back in the right spots, right?
Yeah.
Well, one of the books was Diary of a Wimpy Kid Do-It-Yourself Workbook. Okay.
Yeah.
Someone had crammed this one into that book. So they were explicitly targeting children. Okay.
What the fuck is going on?
And then
Who are these crazy people?
Wait for it.
hold on. And then in a Mama Needs Jesus coloring book, and yes, that is the name of the coloring book, I found this one.
Oh my God! Somebody on the left is just having too much fun.
I don't think it's on the left.
No, it's on the right.
Oh God, we don't have time for that shit. We're not that creative.
Well, that's true. But still.
Oh come on! How creative?
And then,
Come on!
Tell me, did I share this one? I don't remember. This I found at an entirely other store.
Nope.
Have I shared this?
No. What is that?
Someone left this entire book in one of my book sections.
What is that, Russian?
This is, actually, it is Russian. It is the Books of Solomon from the Bible.
Songs of Solomon.
In Russian. Someone decided to leave this entire book in there. I have found entire Books of Mormon.
Oh, God.
And
on the Mormon. Oh, Lord.
I have... And someone left, even though the store sells several different versions, both, there's another book company that has a spinning display. Oh, we got Darren. I'm going to assume that's Darren instead of making him do something. How you doing, man?
My calling card in the, I already put my calling card in the private chat. So.
Hey, Darren, how you doing?
I saw it after I let you come up.
I didn't even see that.
No.
So
go ahead.
Well, I was just going to say, because I was talking about the what people are leaving. Someone has been leaving a very expensive Bible in one of my book sections, even though the store sells Bibles.
Right.
But this person has been leaving like this $30 Bible inside my store. I'd say about every week, and it's like they're just trying to get someone to take it, and like it, but it doesn't have a barcode, so it's obviously not something the store is selling. So I've literally had to throw this book away, even though it's a $30 book, because it doesn't belong to Walmart and they consider it trash. But someone has been leaving that same Bible every few weeks, and it's weird.
Okay.
And so you threw it away, huh? Why would you throw it away? I mean,
I'm required to by the store. It's considered if someone leaves something on the shelf that is trash, or that is not part of the store's stuff. The store doesn't just keep it; they throw it in the trash.
Yeah, but you can donate it.
Okay, so the only reason you're doing it is you're not taking it home and trying to figure out maybe if somebody would want it or just to have one as a reference. The only reason you're doing it is because your employer
here's the thing.
has a rule that says it's trash.
So
Well, here's the thing. Even hold on, like this one, like this, I had to ask both the area leader, the coach for the area for that department, and the store assistant manager to take this home with me, because otherwise, literally, Walmart considers if you steal their trash, it's considered theft, and I could get fired for it.
Are you
So it's actually Walmart policy.
All right,
So,
well, that makes sense.
so let me see if I get this straight. My side is being accused of banning books, but it's okay to throw them in the trash because they don't belong to the store. And if you take them and donate them, you're stealing.
Oh,
Yeah, he even
and
throws
you
away
want to know how
Bibles.
ridiculous it is when it comes to throwing stuff in the trash? One of the things I have to do when it comes to like most of the paperbacks that the store receives, once they're taken off the shelves, I can't just, they're not just returned to the manufacturer. I have to rip off the covers,
Right.
throw the entirety of the book in the trash, and then ship the covers back to show that they were destroyed.
Yeah,
And
they used to
literally,
be. Yeah. Go ahead.
well, I was going to say the reason behind that is because basically it's because it's a bigger tax break for the company if they report the items as destroyed and not
Right.
sold than it is to recycle them or donate them.
Right. Yeah, they've been doing that forever. When I was a kid, I used to go to used bookstores that would have, in a dollar bin or whatever, or a 10-cent bin, paperbacks that had their covers ripped off. And the reason why was somebody went dumpster diving, got those paperbacks out, and are trying to sell them at a discount. And it's actually it's technically a form of theft because that
You're not legally allowed to do that. You're not legally
you're not allowed to resell something that was destroyed. Yeah.
Certain states.
So, but that's one of the ridiculous things about it, and like that's why I have to ask permission to take certain things, because the store will consider it theft. Even fortunately, the little pamphlet things, they have never argued and said I had to ask about those. But when it came to the little Russian book, because I had never seen that before, I was like, I want that just for my collection.
Oh yeah.
So do you have to? Sorry.
No, go ahead.
Go ahead.
Do you have to destroy them before you throw them away, or just throw it away as is in the dumpster?
No, I have to destroy them before I throw them away. At least the books. The magazines end up going just in the trash. But again, occasionally I'll ask if I can have certain ones, even though it's against store policy. But some of the stores, because I've got a good relationship with them, they'll be like, "Oh, okay, yeah, you can go ahead and have that."
Yeah, they'll start.
In fact, go ahead.
Well, Mike, isn't it on like normally? I could pull a book out and say it, but isn't it normally saying a paperback and stuff? The cover is gone. This is illegal to buy.
Some of them say that on like the page after the copyright page.
Yeah, there's something there after the copyright page, if I remember correctly.
Yeah, they're saying that it's a way to maintain their IP and not have to deal with people stealing the trash. But yeah, Walmart is very strict when it comes to people dumpster diving. They do not like people doing it. They consider it theft.
Okay.
That's funny because the way I grew up in life, once you put it in the dumpster, put it on the curb, sorry, buddy, it's fair game.
Certain states consider that private property. Certain states consider that public. Certain states like Arizona, for instance, it says if it's in the garbage at a business, it's open public property until the department takes it away.
Well,
California,
no, as far as Walmart I can tell you from someone who's been in Arizona and worked at Walmart's in Arizona, Walmart considers anything on their property their property. So no, you cannot go into the dumpsters and dig in their dumpsters for any reason. It's their property.
Right.
Listen, I'm not disagreeing with that, but hey, you threw it out. Hey.
So if it was an American flag and they destroyed it,
started there, I'd lose my shit.
Yeah. See, That almost makes me want to plant a flag in there to see what happens.
NB, you would actually be pissed because the Chinese made American flags because when Walmart orders them, they don't get shipped back to the manufacturer because they're in China. So yes, they are literally thrown in the trash. But only the Chinese made ones, or the Vietnam made ones, or the Taiwanese made ones. The American made ones are returned to the manufacturer if they're damaged. Yeah. And I know that only because literally one of my book sections is right next to the American flag section of the store.
Oh Lord, man. Okay.
So yeah,
we are going to have.
Sorry, go ahead.
I was just going to say this. This is the most insane election of my lifetime. I've never seen any.
Let's not really talk about it too much because I'm not interested in it.
Going there, I'm just saying this is insane. I mean, we got 90 days. We're still trying to figure out what's going on. I'm like, holy hell. I got whiplash, all this shit I follow on politics. No. I'm just going on this because I follow politics so much. I'm like literally have whiplash from all the shit that comes out. I'm like, okay. I was actually expecting a boring summer. April Fools. Anyway, getting back to the fun.
Well, Andy, just to ask a little bit, did you see the TikTok thing I shared with you? But from Mr. Global?
No, I haven't had a chance to. So wait a minute, did I? Did you?
It's his prediction for the next 3 months when it comes to the gas prices.
Oh,
and what he says people are going to say about it.
Okay, I'll check it out. Did you send it on TikTok or did you send it? You didn't send me a link on Twitter, did you?
No, I just shared it on TikTok because he's not on YouTube. For some reason, he doesn't use YouTube.
All right, I'll take a look at it after we get off. But no, I hadn't had a chance to see it yet. I've been spending a lot of time with my grandson. He's going home tomorrow. My daughter's should be here.
Oh, that's understandable.
Yeah, well, he's been. One of the nice things is even though it's been raining like all hell sometimes, because my house is so big, it's 25 square feet, and I've got a long runway. My grandson was running back and forth and everything. So, he's had plenty to run. He's got all this energy. It's so funny. In the last 2 days, my wife said when she was laying with him, she just woke up and he has just been like staring at her. He's awake and staring at her.
Sorry, I'm trying to find something real quick.
Your sanity, I cannot help you find that. I'm sorry.
You think the other half of my brain, the Marine Corps still hasn't shipped it back to me yet, and I'd like to get this rock out. I think they lost it in storage 20 years ago.
It's in the same warehouse as the Ark of the Covenant.
For a second.
Oh, Mike.
So one of the things I literally had to get permission from the store manager to take this from the store because, again, remember it was going to go in the trash. I was like, I'm a Star Wars fan. Is there any way I could take this one? It's supposed to go in the trash. It's from frickin' March and April of this year. So it's not even in your system to sell anymore. Is there any way I can keep it instead of throwing it in the trash? And I had to literally go to the store manager to get permission for it.
So, Mike, so when I was talking about that show, I was that documentary I was watching about the frontier. One of the things was I found out. I'm sure you and Elihu know who Fremont is, right?
Not off the top of. I mean, I recognize the name, of course, but.
I mean, he's the guy who literally took California from helped take California from the Mexicans.
Yeah, they got a city named after him up here.
Yeah, Fremont. Yeah, I know. But it was just very interesting because
when you're talking about the frontier and Daniel Boone, I was thinking still on the East Coast. So I was like, maybe, yeah.
Sorry,
I was thinking
went,
something entirely different.
no. This went towards the end of the 4-part miniseries.
Yeah, we're not in Kansas anymore.
Yeah, well, Lewis and Clark. Oh, I'm not going to go back here. Man, poor Lewis.
Merriweather, what's wrong with Merriweather?
Dude, he was. I mean, all that ever he drank himself and then unaligned himself. He just never was able to find anything to do with him after it. There was no capitalization on fame. In fact, you don't even know this, despite as legendary as it is now, this didn't even make the paper. What they did didn't even make the paper. Now, Clark was able to capitalize on it, but Merriweather was not. Lewis was not. And unfortunately, he was always a troubled guy. I mean, it's very interesting to learn about these mythical figures and what they did. And I mean, come on. You're going all the way from St. Louis to friggin'. By the way, getting to learn more about Eli, who helped me pronounce her name.
Sacagawea.
Sacagawea, thank you. Anyway, it was very interesting because it turns out while she's guiding them, they come across a group of natives, and one of them turns out to be her brother.
Thank you, Sacagawea quarter.
Yeah, dollar.
Oh,
$1, sorry.
Okay, cool. But yeah, I mean, think about it. Could you imagine going all the way, marching all those miles over all that unknown area to see the other side of the coast? Could you imagine the just beauty of being like, we did it, and then coming back and nobody gives a shit?
And Dandelion, it's not necessarily the West Coast mountains, but I've definitely hiked areas of the Cleveland National Forest as well as Sequoia. And yeah, especially the redwoods up in Sequoia. That is some beautiful stuff, but also like you'll find some stuff that'll be like, what? That's gonna kill me.
Yeah, how many leaves does that have? 3 or 4? Is that poison or not? Oh shit.
It's like, here, let me
No,
take
it's
a
like
picture.
No, there was a point where I reached out to put my hand on one of the giant sequoias, and a freaking deadly centipede crawls across my hand, and I'm like, "Oh, never mind, not touching the trees no more."
Well, it's too bad state history in California didn't teach you guys much about Fremont and Kit Carson, because
Kit Carson.
Yeah, Kit Carson. Sorry, I was in the middle of burping at the moment.
Oh, sorry, but I'm just like, I do know the history, especially when it comes to Kit Carson and the San Pasquale area. Because I NB, when I was in college, because I I wasn't able to get on one of the paleontological digs. I ended up volunteering for one of the archaeology department's things at the San Pasquale battlefield in California.
Well, what I found interesting about that part, so what I was getting back to when I was talking about California, sorry, I'm getting to the point where California from Mexico, we're in the American-Mexican War at this point. And, Fremont they're able to take relatively California easy, and it was relatively light defended. And then Kid is sent to go tell Polk, hey, we got it. Well, what does Polk do? He goes through the desert. I mean, give this guy this guy was like 30 days, almost 30 days in the desert surviving like that. What kind of fucking man can do that? And then, surprisingly, or by happenstance, he meets the colonel who is going to California. And the colonel pulls rank on him and says, yeah, I need a guide to get me to California. And then they find out the Mexican, and then he scouts ahead finds out the Mexican army has actually been taking things, and well, they get pinned down because they do the attack, and he has to sneak out.
Okay, NB, seriously, what you need to do is do a couple of videos, cite that documentary as a source, and talk about that for like, you can like do 5, 6, 7 videos per those documentaries.
Oh yeah, it would be amazing. I should probably do that because I mean, this guy had a sneak pass. It was like the colonel was like, well, there might be Navy and Marines at the port in so and so place that's 40 miles away, but there was no guarantee. And Kid is like, I'll do it. This man was not afraid. This man was not afraid. He crawled through. Listen, we're talking crawling through on your hands and knees in dirt, rubble, and rock to avoid the Mexican army. And then when he comes back, he's got 200 Marines, and the Mexican army disbands. When they see the Marines, they're like, we don't want none of this shit.
Well, remember, it was only certain groups in California that wanted the U.S. there.
Yeah.
The Mexican military obviously did not want them there,
Yeah.
but mostly some of the white farmers that had and settlers that had moved to California, as well as some of the lower class, not all of them, but some of the lower class, more like middle class farmers and landowners wanted the Americans there. But yeah, that's one of the whole things. How one of the things, like one of the pieces of trivia I like to give people is there was 3 states that you could argue were their own countries before they became part of the United States.
Yeah.
And can anyone here name them?
Well,
Texas, Republic of California, and the Utah territory.
Yep.
Utah was a territory, so that obviously doesn't count.
Oh, sorry. Well, I know Texas and California.
Well, I know the Texas and the California one. I don't know the third one.
Hawaii.
Oh, right. Yeah, that's right. Idiot.
Everybody forgets about that island.
Yeah. It's actually an archipelago, but yeah.
But,
well, it's a state now, but at the time it was a recognized country by other countries. Now, California wasn't actually recognized by other countries at the time because you could argue that it was only its own country for about 30 days before the United States annexed it. So you could also argue that it wasn't its own country.
No,
Hawaii is the only state that has a royal palace on it. In it.
Yes, it is.
I saw that. I even checked it out.
But yeah, it was very interesting. By the way, Mike, one of the things I found out about Fremont's when they started going, what he did was he was there on a secret mission also to stir up things, because the thing was the Mexican government, and this was the same thing that happened in Texas, was that they were trying to entice Americans to come. And it's like, come work on this land. Oh, but you can't own the land. You're basically a sharecropper. And that's not the American mentality. It's like, no, I didn't come out here not to own my own piece of the dream. And this was infuriating the Americans over there. And that's what he was sent to do, was to stir it up. And by the way, do you know how he got into that war?
Hold on, NB, just to mention it again. Basically, your whole thing is still saying the reason the Americans went to war was because they wanted what the other people had.
No, Mike, you're exactly right. Mike, he purposely.
Mike,
we can. I know. He's, but I'm just saying we can make a whole series of videos on the American wanted it, so he took it, and that's how the Americans work.
NB, you need NB. Go drink another beer.
I'm still drinking it, but no, it's so funny. The funniest thing is how Polk pulled it off. He sent people into Texas, but it was disputed territory between Texas and Mexico. Basically, he was
Texas said it was the Rio Grande river as the border, and Mexico said it was another river, which I can't remember offhand, was their border. In fact, Mrs. Vile asked me, I never actually gave it to her because by the time I was done with it, it was already past when she was teaching history for a little bit. She wanted an American's perspective on the Mexican-American War. And I did a little mini essay that I was trying to say, like, this is what was taught to me. But you have to note that I was mostly taught in California with a couple of summer school classes in Texas.
But what I thought was
the
whole point was.
Oh, go ahead.
But the whole point was to. Oh, hush up! I've had one beer barely.
That's why I said drink another beer.
But anywed, one of the
issues, and also, Danny Lyon, that's not necessarily true for me because I've had 2 shots of McAndrews whiskey added to my coffee, not beer.
So what was interesting was he played a.
I'm having horchata.
But it was an interesting strategy.
I love horchatas.
Okay, I'm going to test the waters. I'm not going to engage because he knew the Senate would not agree to war unless we were provoked. So they're in the disputed territory. Of course, the Mexicans attack. 11 soldiers are killed. And Polk, well, I don't know if he lied, but he kind of fudged it when he said American blood has been spilled on American soil. You can call it a lie, you can call it a fudge, you can call it a perspective, but anyway, he got the war he wanted and we got the prize we wanted. And yeah, honestly, could you imagine California still under Mexico?
Yeah.
It wouldn't be under Mexico, it would be independent.
The Republic of California.
You wouldn't be the Republic of California.
In fact, if California had done it the way they wanted to, technically they would have owned all the land between the Baja California, the peninsula, all the way up north into the Oregon and Washington areas. They would have wanted the entire coast.
The entire West Coast. Or U.S. government did not want that. They wanted ocean to ocean. Yeah.
And neither did Mexico, which is literally why they split Baja California into 2 parts, was that way they could literally start building a new capital in Baja California Norte. That way, so they would have a population necessary to fight off Americans if they needed to.
And with the Gadsden Purchase, that's why Arizona has that.
Baja California.
Yeah, and that's why Arizona has that strange arc, because they did not want Mexico to have a coastline.
Well, one of the things, Mexico has a coastline.
No, but they're talking about the Gulf.
You mean the
Gadsden Purchase.
The Pacific and the Atlantic. I got you. Well, that was one of the things I think that we were going for was, if we're going to have a strong country, we got to have both coasts. And turns out we were right. I mean, do you think we'd really be this powerful of a country if we didn't have coast to coast?
Well, look at London. Look at England.
It's the oceans are what basically saves us for the most part. It makes it very hard to invade our country because we have these massive oceans on either side.
And we also have 2 sets of big ass mountains.
Yep. The Rockies and the Appalachians aren't nearly as big as they used to be, but they're still pretty intimidating.
I drove through the Appalachians a lot.
Especially when you're going through the Appalachians and you hear the sound on the wind.
Oh.
Hey, Mike, I've been up through the Rockies. I've been up through the Rockies at Donner's Pass and I got over it. I've been up there during the winter. Holy shitballs, Batman. I had to pull
NB, I rode back on when I had my 92 Goldwing. I rode through the Donner Pass on my motorcycle in February. And I was thinking, because I'm from Southern California, this is February. It'll be nice and warm.
Are you out of your mind?
Goldwing,
was-
fag.
Dude, there's
Hey.
this road in Yosemite called Priest Hill. It's called Priest Hill
got
because
that
in the
Gold
winter.
Wing. Darren, hold on. Darren, do you know how much I paid for that gold wing?
Too much.
I'm getting the
I
done
got it
and
for free.
Well, so you still paid too much.
Well,
You went
okay, hold on. I got to tell this story. NB, hold on. I'm going to tell this story. Basically, my dad owned the gold wing before me. He took it apart so he could paint it because it was originally purple and he wanted to paint it red. So instead of getting it all painted at once, he was sending the parts in to get painted and then putting them back on. But then he forgot how to put it back together. So it sat disassembled for like a year. And he was so fed up with it, he went out and bought a brand new gold wing. And he said, if you can put it back together, you can have this one. So I immediately went onto YouTube, watched every video I could, and put the damn thing back together. And I was like, yep, now this is mine. I registered it in my name. And I started riding it until Caddy was basically about 4 years old. And her mom was like, if he's ever on the bike with her, you know, he's putting her life in danger. He's a bad parent. So I was like, fuck, fine. I just got rid of it. And I haven't owned a motorcycle since.
Yeah. You should have got paid to take it off his hands.
I ended up taking that thing all the way from California to Virginia, California to Texas. And each time I went to Texas, I would go a different route just because I could.
Wait a minute. You rode your Goldwing like outside your property where people could see you?
Yes, I did.
Okay, all right. Wow.
Dude, I took it to Sturgis.
Oh, I'm sure they loved it there.
No, no one complained. There's a whole area just for people showing off their gold wings.
They were silently complaining. You were that guy.
I'm not a biker guy, so I don't even know what the hell that is.
Look,
oh,
honestly,
he's probably more. You probably like more of the Harley Davidson Indian crowd, right?
No.
Yeah. Well, right now. Well, because I'm from Wisconsin, yes, I'm supposed to like Harley Davidson more. But the thing is, the way they've been behaving lately, I wouldn't own one. I would either own a Boss Hoss or an Indian. In fact, I would rather own a Ducati or some British bike like a Triumph if they still make those. I think they do. Than a Harley at this point.
Well, just so you know, Darren, my dad died riding an Indian, so there's no way I'm buying an Indian.
Well, that would be a personal reason of yours not to get one, and I would stand by that decision. More Indians for me.
But
I'm sorry to hear that your dad died. That's not good.
Sorry, but Darren, one of the reasons I liked the Gold Wing, even though it was the first and only bike I've owned, was the fact that one, the engine was bigger than my first truck's engine.
Yeah.
You know, a V4, big ass engine, and the fact that I could get about 65 miles a gallon on it if I didn't load it up all the way.
Yeah. My dad had two Boss Hoss trikes, and they had huge engines in them, like from like U-Haul trucks.
You know, I was wondering if she meant BMX.
No, BMW
No,
also makes motorcycles.
too.
Yeah. They make the yuppie bikes with the square headlights. At least they used to. I don't know if they still do anymore. But back in the 80s, that was considered a yuppie bike.
Yeah.
Okay.
And I'll be honest with you, I think most BMW bikes look stupid.
Yeah. They're definitely foreign looking. That's for sure.
I don't, guys. I don't know shit about bikes. I'll tell you what. I'm sorry. I've seen too many accidents. I'm just like, if I'm gonna be in a vehicle riding or driving, I need a roll cage.
Yeah. You know, that is a concern. You know, when you're young, dumb, and full of cum, it's different. But when you get to be an older guy, you kind of want to protect some of your shit. You know. It's so
well. I've actually been on bikes before. I never really, I never felt comfortable being on them. And then I've been in places like California and stuff where I see these guys on those. Now, listen, the guys riding the hogs and stuff, they're not a problem. It's the guys on the goddamn crotch rockets.
Right. Those are the degenerates now. It's not the Harley Davidson owners. Yeah.
Yeah, those guys, the guys on the Harleys or the non-crotch rockets, I don't know what you would call them. It's not a crotch rocket. They ride respectfully.
Right.
Yeah, they're
good. Their
Their
bikes are too expensive. No, and they're too hard to buy parts for. I mean, basically they've upped their clientele, and this is actually that part was kind of smart on their end, because they sell every single one they make. Usually you have to wait in line like sometimes up to a year before you can get yours if you want to order one directly from Harley, and a new one anyway. And they used to be, obviously choppers, right? You had guys coming back from World War II, and they would buy the surplus bikes that the Army had from Harley, and they would start chopping things off of them, elongating the fork, things like that. And so those Harleys, those guys got for dirt cheap, and that's what created the mystique. But now they're very expensive, and anything with Harley Davidson logo on. I mean these women that ride with their boyfriends or husbands on the bikes. The part they like about it is dressing up as a Harley woman with all Harley crap, leather and jeans.
Well, it is a culture, but like I said, it's a rather overall respectable culture and a rather friendly culture and a welcoming culture if you just don't fuck around and find out. Don't be stupid and do something stupid. But the crotch rocket guys, these guys are nuts.
I mean, they're going 160. I mean, 80's flying on a bike, in my opinion. They're breaking.
And then they complain when somebody stops.
They want to go fast enough so that if they make a mistake, they won't know about it.
Probably,
Yeah, but that's the problem. They're going so fast, and then they get mad at the guy.
Because right now Indian is basically what Harley was back in the 80s. Indian went out of business, and then a bunch of investors bought the trademark. And speaking of trademarks, I bought one this morning, $250. I can't believe that. Anyway, and now they're making motorcycles. If you go to their website, they've got their classic looking ones, but they've also got ones that are look really rugged and such. And they look foreign, but they keep that identity. They've got a V-twin, but it's not a panhead or an Evolution engine, of course. But they're basically what Harley was in the 80s. That's why I would say get an Indian. Plus, that company name has to piss off some people, especially white liberals.
Have you?
Well, hold on. I'm a white liberal or white liberal-ish, and I don't have a problem with it.
Well, again, that's why I said some people.
Have any?
All right. Since we've been talking for about an hour, let's talk about what I wanted to, because we've been going off tangents since minute one. I finally watched The Acolyte.
I'm sorry.
Sorry?
I said I did want to say something.
Okay.
He said it correctly. He said it correctly. I'm sorry.
Vile, tell me what hospital to send the flowers to, so you can
please.
And I will send them. Okay.
Yes.
No, hold on.
You have my sympathy.
To ask, what? I didn't hate The Acolyte.
Okay.
I don't think it was great, but I'm really confused at why some people had really big issues with it, especially when they were talking about the two being conceived via the Force, because the way they explain it, it doesn't seem to be a bad idea. So I'm confused why people are angry about it.
It was never stated when the prophecy was said that somebody would be born from the Force. It was never stated when that prophecy was made.
Yeah, and besides, they already blew that wad in Phantom Menace when they said that Anakin was conceived by the midichlorians. So and I thought that was a mistake when Lucas did it, and then of course some other people will get a hold of it and turn it into turn the bus into a direction that I'm pretty sure he probably didn't intend, but he gave him the tools to do it. So this is one of the reasons why I'm not a Star Wars fan. Haven't been for a very, very long time.
This show needs to go away to fucking.
Well, hold on, I'll be right back.
Okay, but okay. Well, I guess I was going to make a point, but we're going to wait for him to come back here.
This show needs to
$250 at the U.S. trademark, online office to trademark a word that you created. And last time I did that, it was $150. So it's gone up quite a bit. So, yeah.
Geez, you got to pay to get something trademarked. What a shock! God.
Yeah, it's a processing fee basically. Yeah, and so yeah, I've got a comic book campaign starting here in a couple of weeks, maybe
cool.
months, depending on how many things. So I had to get the name trademark to give myself that protection. Other people don't do that; they just use proof of concept. But I thought, well, you know what, might as well do it. You know?
I can't believe you watched the Acolyte. Oh my God.
Look, I think it's okay that VIleMike is not hating it, but not loving it either. I mean,
well, but my problem has always been is it basically. Okay, I'll let you talk since he's back.
Okay, so VIleMike's back. Okay, good. You back, Mike?
Yeah, sorry. Everyone started roboting on me, and I knew it was my issue, not you guys.
Okay, I'm going to go ahead and ask you guys a question. Do any of you remember, and this is a yes or no question, do you guys remember a TV show called The Phoenix from back in the early 80s?
Yes.
Okay.
No.
Yes.
It lasted, okay, the Phoenix was a TV, it started as a TV movie, then turned into a series, and it only lasted 3 months, didn't even finish half a season. It starred Judson Scott, the guy, everybody knows who he is. He played Joachim, I believe, in Joachim in Star Trek II, The Wrath of Khan. He was implicitly identified as Khan's son. He dies in Khan's arms towards the end of the movie. He was his lackey that had the most lines, right? Judson Scott has also been in a couple other things as well, but this was his starring TV show. He played an entity, an alien entity named Bennu, who was locked inside of an Aztec sarcophagus for thousands of years, and then archaeologists open it, wake up, and he's basically a superhero kind of character. He's has adventures and stuff. Well, that show lasted like only a couple of months, and then it was gone. Okay, and you know why that happened?
Nope.
Because nobody watched it. It was not a very good show, and nobody watched it. Nobody wanted to stay up late and watch it at 9 o'clock on Central Time on ABC, and so it went away. That's what would happen to a lot of these shows if certain aspects of the Phantom Menace, as we still call them, would just ignore certain things that are bad, and not try to turn them into awful things if they're lukewarm on it, or if they're just okay, or if they've got a little bit of their selling point, is a little bit of leftism, or maybe even a lot of leftism. If they just would stop talking about them, they would go away. But instead, what we have now is the people who state that they don't like these shows and hate these shows actually causing them to perpetuate. And it's almost like a feedback loop where they're fortifying the things that they say they want to go away.
Yeah, I would agree with that, Darren. One of the things I'm saying is I'm not getting on. First off, I'm not getting on the actor, the actors I don't know anything about. The director, okay, fine. The writing room, look, all I'm going to say is this: the writing, the acting, the direction, everything about that series was to basically retcon the Phantom Menace. And that really bothers me because it was basically like at the very end of it, it's like, wait a minute. Okay, so what? Would they've known this long? Give me a break. I'm like, you just retcon the whole Phantom Menace. I'm like, no, you don't get to just do that.
See, I don't see it as a retcon of the Phantom Menace. I think it is an addition to it.
Well, I said the same thing about Obi-Wan, and a lot of people hate it. And I actually enjoy it. I don't think it destroys continuity. I think it adds to it. Whereas I think the Acolyte destroys continuity. And
I mean, don't get me wrong. I think Solo does the same thing. I think Solo doesn't retcon anything per se. I think it adds to the mythos, but I still didn't like Solo.
Well, Solo explained how he was able to bypass the sector of space in record time. So hey.
Yeah, but I'm just saying, I personally didn't like that particular movie. I thought it was. As I said, I don't know how to quantify it per se.
I feel bad for Aaron Ehrenreich, whatever his name was, the guy who played Solo, because he was really an up and coming actor until that movie hit. And you know, you're a young actor, you try out for a iconic role with Disney, Star Wars. Who, you know, actors were back then were still trying to get into these movies. You know, they would consider that a feather in their cap, and he needed the exposure. But the movie was so polarizing to the fans that he basically has now been relegated to supporting cast status. Where that was, you know, he's in Cocaine Bear as part of an ensemble cast. He's doing other things. I mean, his career just got shot to pieces because of that movie, and I can't blame him for taking the job, because up until that point, everything Star Wars was considered at least a financial success. And his was the first movie.
I mean, don't get me wrong. If I was offered a role in Star Wars for anything, I'd probably take it, even if I'm not a trained actor, just because of the exposure.
All right, Dandelion. Lots of people don't think about continuity and the repercussions of one thing or the other happening at an earlier point in time. Well, that's the minority of you. I'm sorry to say, but you need to understand something, Dandelion. There are shows, and then there are IPs. Star Trek, Star Wars, Doctor Who, Lord of the Rings. These are passionate fan bases. We know the lore. We're very familiar with it. It is a passion of ours. So when you screw with it, yes, we call it out. We say, no, this isn't how it's. Look, there are Tolkien scholars that are ripping Lord of the Rings, Rings of Power to shred. I don't know a fucking thing about much of Lord of the Rings. But I tried to watch the first episode and I was like, this looks like 300 only bad. That's oh, I guess we lost him. But anyway, I just thought it looked bad. I didn't know the lore. I don't really know. I've read Lord of the Rings. I've read The Hobbit. I've seen the movies. God, I wish I hadn't watched The Hobbit.
It's not a CNA stream unless something goes wrong with White's connection.
Yeah, tell me about it. I hated The Hobbit, by the way. I was like...
I like the original cartoon Hobbit. It was better.
Of course, everybody loves the cartoon Hobbit. That was fucking fantastic. We all love that one. What are we going to do with these funny little men?
I didn't think The Hobbit was too bad. My only problem with it was we didn't need. It should have been 2 movies with 1 cliffhanger, and it didn't need. You could cut out the whole part with Legolas, and maybe even that love thing between the young dwarf and Evangeline Lilly's character, and you still would have had a great 2 movies. But I think everybody understands that this was a very rather short book. I mean, and trying to get 3 movies.
I think StreamYard is having issues.
Yeah, but I think that's the thing. You hit the nail there, Darren. It's like, okay, Lord of the Rings, the 3 movies. We had the 3 movies. And then you take The Hobbit, the smallest book of all of it, and you turn it into 3 movies. And I'm sorry, the quality just wasn't there. I mean, whereas they were using mostly practical effects, I saw way too much obvious CGI in this one. And I was just like, I cannot get invested. I was like, this is taking too long. This is a short book. It should not take 3 movies to spell it out.
Right. And originally it was going to be 2, but then somebody got to them got to Peter Jackson, and I mean, the battle of the three armies is the last chapter of the book, and they tried to, I mean, the stuff that they added with Isak or Ursak, whatever his name was, and his rivalry with Oakenshield, that was fine. But again, the other thing is, I grew up in the '80s when we had at least 2 major fantasy movies came out every year, especially after Star Wars came out. So I kind of miss that genre, and to have another fantasy movie, yeah, it wasn't as good as Lord of the Rings, but it was good enough to satisfy scratch the itch for more of this Tolkien material. But yeah, go ahead.
Oh, Darren, what I was going to say is one of the biggest problems we have right now in the theaters, and I'm going to say this right now. Everybody talks about diversity of your characters. We got to hit these check boxes. We got to have this. We got to have that. And I remember when I saw this, I wish I could find it. And it was like the top 3 movies of these decades. And they were all different movies. Some were romance, some were action, some were adventure, some were cartoon. I mean, like, we used to have diversity of movies where there was something you could go see. You have your summer blockbusters. There'd be a decent romance you could go with your girlfriend to. There was an action movie you could take your girlfriend to. There was a drama maybe you could take you guys could go together or see alone. There was all kinds of different movies that used to come out. We don't have that anymore. Now we get our sequels, reboots, and continued franchises. It's boring.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, I like sequels to good movies that I've seen, but obviously if I haven't seen the original, I'm not probably going to see the sequel. I mean, so occasionally I get roped into that. One time I went on a date with a girl and she wanted to see Saw 3, and I'm like, well, I haven't seen Saw 1 or 2. And I went and saw it, and that was the first time I actually went to what we today call a torture porn movie.
Yeah.
And but I was actually kind of fascinated by the character Jigsaw after that, and so I did, eventually watch the first 2 movies because I thought that was that first original movie boogeyman I'd seen in a long time. So, but so there was an example where again I saw Serenity before I saw Firefly as well, the movie Serenity. So. That can happen, but generally speaking, I'm not going to go see The Purge 4 if I haven't seen 1 through 3.
Yeah, exactly. I understand that completely. I made the mistake of seeing Highlander 2 before I saw Highlander.
Yeah.
You want to talk about shut? No, dude, I was a kid. I'm like, I put in Highlander. Well, it didn't say Highlander 2. It just said Highlander Quickening. So I didn't know it was a sequel. So I popped it in, and I'm like, and then I see the VHS tape for Highlander, and then I put it in, and there's Clancy around. I'm like, what the fuck?
Highlander 2 should never exist.
Oh, I know.
You okay, but here's another example of like a really great movie they did, and then they create this sequel that undermines the entire first movie on some level, turning it into science fiction, trying to come up with more backstory for these characters, and it failed, and so the movie's out there, but most fans act like it never existed. It's kind of like the Star Trek V of Highlander.
NB, just to go back a little bit, and how do I sound? Because I switched devices because I was getting a lot of roboting from everyone else. Again, I think it was my internet connection, not you guys, of course.
You sound fine to me. Yeah, I made this.
Yeah, you sound a little low though, but you sound fine.
Now, Michael Ironside was. I mean, Darren, Michael Ironside was just eating up everything in that movie, though.
Yeah,
I got to give him credit for that.
Yeah.
But
I did go back to a little bit to what you were saying about not knowing, like not wanting to watch a movie because you haven't seen the first ones.
Yeah.
Hollywood Video, back when things were on cassette, I picked up a movie that I thought had an awesome looking cover because they were selling it for $1 used, called Deep Star 6.
Yep, I know that in the theater.
I spent months looking for Deep Star 1 through 5 before I realized
Well, you know, it wasn't a Roman numeral. Yeah.
Yeah, that is
wasn't
true.
like-
It should have been the Roman numeral. That
Yeah,
might
it was. Yeah. Now, what I hate is when you have a movie. Well, first of all, I hated the 21 Jump Street movie because it had no. It was a comedy. I don't like it when they do a movie based off a TV show, but then they make fun of the core concept of the TV show that people loved. But then the sequel's called 22 Jump Street. Like,
Yeah, across the street.
yeah, it's across the street, and you know, it's just, you know, that was awful.
The thing about 21 Jump Street was, and this is the reason why I never saw those two movies, was they made them into comedies, and that was actually a serious drama.
Yeah, I pretty much
Launched
said that
a
already.
lot of careers. Launched
Yeah.
Peter DeLuise's career. Launched
Richard
Johnny
Grieco,
Depp.
Johnny
Yeah.
Depp had already been in Nightmare on Elm Street.
yeah, he was
Wow.
already in
Yeah.
Nightmare on Elm Street,
Yeah.
but the 21
Yeah.
Jump Street is what propelled his career.
Yeah, and I was a huge, and it was also geared towards the junior high and high school audience, and that was one of the things that it was like a serious drama, but it was, you know, it was set in high schools and something later in colleges as the characters started to age a little bit more visually, but it was made for me. You know, it was part of the whole Fox lineup when they first. It was not part of the original lineup, but it came for shortly thereafter, and that's why I liked.
They also tackled a lot of serious school issues, like, you know, the idea of teachers carrying weapons and stuff.
Right.
You know, I mean,
Yeah.
there was a time when, you know, our dramas tackled serious issues. I mean, real serious, not this manufactured shit.
Well,
I
I
mean-
would argue. Hold on. I would argue that our dramas still do that. They're just not advertised as much because not many people want to actually see them. They tend to be more Oscar bait.
Yeah, but that's not the point. I'm not talking about Oscar bait. I'm talking about just regular good storytelling. Like, there was an episode back in the 80s, I think it was on Growing Pains, where it had to do with AIDS.
Yeah.
Okay, and this was relatively, you know, we had been getting a lot of stories, a lot of misinformation, and I was a kid at the time. So, you know, I don't know anything about this. And then I'm watching this show about it, and I learned more from that show about AIDS and how it's transferred than I did from anything my parents had told me, because they didn't even fucking know.
Right. Yeah. And there was an education sort of aspect to 21 Jump Street too. I even think that they had like a G.I. Joe knowing is half the battle kind of thing at the end of a lot of those episodes as well. But, you know, and I am convinced I'm the only motherfucker who ever watched Booker. I loved that show. That was their spin-off with Richard Grieco, where he struck out on his own, and they made a very different kind of show. It wasn't 21 Jump Street. It was, as soon as he left the show, they sort of had this moment in the pilot where DeLuise was there, kind of seeing if he was okay, and then that was the last reference to Jump Street. And suddenly, it was its own show, and it had a very different tone and everything. And I really liked it, but it only lasted half a season. But
yeah, but didn't DeLuise go on to be? I mean, he's been a pretty successful director and actor in his own right since then, hasn't he?
Yeah, he's been in other things. I think it was in that submarine show. Sequest and stuff. Played a nice.
But he's done a lot of directing.
Yeah, I heard some stories about his directing style. It's very funny and it's hysterical. Because Simone was telling me that one time that he was doing some close-up shots, and he said, "Okay, act like somebody farted," and she did an expression. Okay, now you just burped. That was an expression. Perfect. He's like odd directions, and people was like, okay. He likes catching people off guard. He's supposed to be one hilarious, cool dude.
But like we said, the biggest thing is you need good acting, you need good writing, and good storytelling, and good story. But when you're in an IP, especially an IP with a loyal fan base, you have to tread lightly. And yeah, not everybody's gonna like it. But look, I hate the sequels. I like Mandalorian. I like Mandalorian 1 and 2. I like Kenobi.
Mandalorian was good. I'm waiting for the movie.
I don't know. I'm a little confused on how I feel about after the first 2 seasons and then Grogu coming back. I don't know. I'll have to wait and see. I'm not gonna bitch. I'm gonna reserve judgment. What? I'm not allowed to reserve judgment? I mean, sorry.
You never reserve judgment. You always give judgment. I'm like, that's why I chuckled.
And as I said, I didn't hate it. It was a good. I figured it was not a waste of my time. So yeah, it was just. I would say it was just above average. I'm not going to say it was great, but it was above average. At least especially when it comes to Star Wars shows.
Well,
but had it not been a Star Wars show, no, it would not have gone anywhere near as what it was. It built too much. It relied too much on previous introduced stuff.
It was just the stuff I watched. I mean, the Jedi are just boring. It makes no sense to why the Jedi would look. I could go off on a whole thing about why it makes no sense for the Jedi to even be out there. This isn't
the way I looked at it. The way I looked at it, it was showing how the Jedi could be incredibly flawed, and why they would fall so hard during the prequel movies.
It doesn't add anything to it. And now we're told the Sith that basically we're told Yoda's known about the Sith for 100 years. Are you fucking kidding me?
Well, if you read the books, Yoda did dabble on the dark side in his youth.
Yes, I know, but that's not the point. I'm talking about the fact. Oh, also, nobody wants to see Leslie Headland bastardize Darth Plagueis. No.
Darth Plagueis the Wise. Get it correctly.
Yeah, well, I've read the Darth Plagueis book. Okay, it's an amazing freaking book. Amazing. I mean, anyway, it just, the show just, you've got 2 characters played by the same actor who have no different facial expressions, somehow magically have the same hairstyle for the most part. And it's just a constant flip-flop. And a lot of Hobbit walking and Lord of the Rings, and it seems like everybody's ignorant as all hell. I mean, I've never seen Jedi so stupid in my life.
Well, as I said, when you think that you're the righteous one, sometimes you'll end up coming out looking like an asshole.
Well, yeah, I understand that part, but like I said, what
it.
was the point? Why were they in the why were they outside the Republic trying to test it?
They said so. They were investigating a virgins.
I have that book. I have Rogue Squadron.
Which one?
Rogue One. I had actually I had Michael Stackpole sign that one.
I didn't have him sign it, but he does follow me on Twitter.
But no, look, I thought it broke a lot of canon. It did not add to the story, whereas I thought Obi-Wan added to canon, and I personally enjoyed that. This show, I feel, broke canon. I felt like she was trying to make a stamp. That's Leslie Headland. Make her own stamp on Star Wars and say, I did this, and I don't care what anybody thinks. It kind of reminded me of She-Hulk, like, we're just making the show and we don't care. No, it took 4 years to make this show.
Well, hold on one sec. Darren, have you ever read this book right here, the one in the top right corner, Burden of Proof?
John Q. Henry.
I can barely see it. The title doesn't ring a bell.
Is that I don't know if that brings it up bigger.
Doesn't ring a bell, no.
I think you would actually enjoy this book if you ever came across it. I'm not trying to say you have to buy this one, but because I think other people are selling it cheaper than I am. But it's basically a sci-fi version of Jag.
Oh, nice. I love Jag. Well, actually, you can skip all of season 1 and just go to straight to season 2 and lose nothing.
Kind of like Wings.
Yeah, that's true. Why didn't he lose that damn accent? What accent? Tony Shalhoub.
Shalhoub, I know.
Okay,
I honestly believe
tell me,
he's one.
because I actually watched this week. When you're talking about Tony Shalhoub,
Yes.
nobody told me they did a Monk sequel movie, and so I had to find out on my own, and I watched it this week.
No, I mean, you don't understand. Tony Shalhoub has range. People think he's just a comedian, but he can actually play a serious role.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's got some drama. I mean, he was in that movie with Bruce Willis, Annette something, and Denzel Washington.
Annette Bening?
Yeah, Annette Bening, thank you. You know the movie I'm talking about.
Yeah, I forgot the title, but I know what you're talking about.
I heard the title too. But anyway, he plays a serious role, and he's actually done many serious roles. And he's quite got range. I don't think people realize he's got range. He's not just a comic guy. He can do drama. Elihu, if you like Shalhoub, check out Miss Mabel.
The Marvelous Miss Mabel?
Yes, The Marvelous Miss Mabel.
I've seen it.
Isn't she a trip?
Oh my gosh, Alex Bornstein rocks.
I literally love the season finale of the first season where the guy in the middle is like, why don't you get back in the kitchen? Oh, sir, I'm Jewish. I pay people to do that. I mean, she just was having oh my God. I was rioting, laughing at that stuff. And, and then her now ex-husband goes and beats the shit out of the guy because he's like, yeah, she's good. And I love that. That's the thing. That's what great comedians can do. Great comedians, when they get called out, they don't get angry. They don't get pissy. They turn it around.
Well, what a lot of people don't realize also is the really hard thing to do is comedy. So, that's one of the reasons why Robin Williams was so chilling in movies like 1 Hour Photo and stuff, because he already knows how to do the hard thing, make people laugh. The rest of it just falls into place. Whereas like an actor like Patrick Stewart, who many would consider a great actor, can't make comedies to save his patootie.
No.
And he's never funny. When he hosted Saturday Night Live, it was terrible.
But Darren, he was good when he said it's good to be the king.
Anyway, if you look at his various comedies, I mean, I'm sorry, Elihu, that was just noise. Okay?
Elihu,
anyway,
that wasn't him. That was Mel Brooks who said that.
Yeah. So anyway, the point is that it doesn't surprise me that Jim Carrey, for example, can deliver a really good performance that isn't comedy, because he already knows how to do the hardest thing there is to do when it comes to acting, according to many actors.
Well, one of the things I actually, surprisingly, when I first saw Jim Carrey, it was not on In Living Color. He was in a TV movie called Doing Time on Maple Leaf Drive. It was a TV movie, and he was playing an alcoholic.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, he had a career before In Living Color. That's not where he got his start. A lot of people that's where they first noticed him. But, he had been in movies like, Love at First Bite with Laura Hutton, which was a comedy. But he also had a short-lived sitcom on NBC called The Duck Factory, which was about these people who ran a small animation studio, and they sold cartoons about this talking duck, and he was the voice of the duck. And it was interesting. It was not something that was a knee slapper or anything, but he was good in it. But he wasn't playing his stereotypical modern Jim Carrey. He was playing an ordinary guy kind You know, and you know, surprisingly, he was also, I think, in a Dirty Harry movie.
Was
Before.
he?
Yeah, he played a Guns N' Roses style, you know, Axl Rose type rock star who was part of the Deadpool. He was one of the stars that died
in
in
Deadpool.
threes. Yeah.
Yeah, the Deadpool. Yeah, I remember that one.
Yeah.
Oh shit! Who was the guy? Now that you mention that, remember in Dirty Harry, the guy who played Garrick was also the guy who took over the bus.
Oh, Rennie Santori or Rennie? No.
Yeah, the guy who played Garrick. Yeah, he was in the first Dirty
Andrew
Harry.
Robinson. Andrew Robinson. Yeah, he played Scorpio. Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's one of the reasons why I thought that when he played Garrick, when he played Garrick, I was like, okay, they got the right actor for this because they needed somebody that had an inherent creepy factor, you know.
Oh, he
Jim
plays
Carrey.
it. Well, you know, the one reason why I like Pumpkinhead too is actually because he's in it.
Yeah.
I like Pumpkinhead because it had Lance Hendrickson, and personally, I think he's a great actor. But I like Pumpkinhead too, Blood Wings, because I actually thought it was also good, and he was in it, and I very much enjoyed it.
Pumpkinhead reminds me of Gary Busey, Natural States.
Gary Busey was in Silver Bullet, remember? He was probably high like a motherfucker, too.
He's always high.
Probably.
Dude, he looked so... Dude, if he wasn't high in Silver Bullet, I'm not buying it.
You know, the guy who disappeared was his son, Jake Busey. You know, he was in Starship Troopers, and then he did a show called Shasta McNasty, and you know, then he just kind of went away.
Well, he was in that recent Predator movie playing his dad's son, but yeah, that's pretty much it. I don't really know much about anything he's done. It's like I said before, we don't.
I'm going with IMDb to see what else he's been doing lately.
So I see Deadpool's been doing well at the box office.
Let's see, movies he's been in the last 5 years.
I liked it.
Guns N' Moses, Gettysburg Christmas, Bluegrass Spirits, Scalper, It Wants Blood 2, Chaos on the Farm, which was a TV movie, Pig Killer, Shooting Star, Tale of Two Guns, Devos, A Soldier's Revenge.
So he's doing a lot of direct-to-DVD stuff.
Yeah, I've never heard any of these before.
Yeah, let's see, things that I've actually heard of. He was in...
I got a Jaloja.
The Mr. Robot Show. He was in the Rookie Fed spinoff series, Swamp Thing.
Sorry, what are you reading?
IMDb.
Yeah, but what are you reading?
The things he's been in. Jake Busey has been in recently.
Oh, Jake Busey. Okay, gotcha.
You said he dropped off. He's been doing stuff.
He's been doing stuff that I haven't seen. Yeah.
Yeah.
That means he dropped. That means he dropped.
Eli, he was right. He was in The Predator. He was in Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., NCIS, Stranger Things, which now I got to go back and watch that because I don't remember him being in Stranger Things. He was in 5 episodes of Stranger Things. God damn.
Shit.
Yeah,
Ray Donovan the series.
Wait a minute. He was in Stranger Things? What's these in?
Yeah. 2009 or 2019, sorry. So whatever season that was.
Wait a minute. Elihu, are you fucking with me?
No, I'm not. It was confirmed by Scotty.
He played a character called Bruce, and I'm like, I have no idea who that is. So now I'm going to go to the Stranger Things wiki and find out who the hell that was.
Yeah, exactly, because I don't fucking know. I don't remember seeing Jake Busey in it.
Me neither. That's why I'm looking it up.
I mean, he looks like his dad, for fuck's sake.
Well, his dad is actually aging very interestingly. His teeth seem to be getting bigger and bigger as he gets older.
Oh my God. He played the guy in charge of the Hawkins Post, Nancy Wheeler and Jonathan Byers' boss. And I'm looking at him at the image. It barely looks like him. See if I can bring it up. All right, I'm going to see if I can share this real quick.
Home runs.
That barely looks like him.
He got old.
He does, like, for a long time, you would look at him and like he looks just like his dad.
Now, whoa.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Whoa.
I am shocked.
No wonder we didn't recognize him. Wow, he hasn't aged well.
Well, he doesn't look like his dad anymore, that's for sure.
Yeah, that's for damn sure. No wonder none of us recognized him. Wait a minute, I don't understand. Do you think they changed things up for him? Because that shouldn't have been much longer than he did that Predator movie. And he was thin and everything in that. I mean, they can't be that far apart.
Let's see, Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., or sorry, The Predator was 2018 and Stranger Things was 2019.
Could he have changed that much, or did they apply makeup and prosthetics?
I don't know.
Well, I mean, he was in his very early 20s when he was in Starship Troopers. So, I mean, yeah, you tend to fill out. He's going to be in his 40s or 50s now. So
Yeah,
that's about right. The level of bloat is proportionate. Yeah.
Oh, yeah, I remember he played in the direct-to-sequel for Hitcher. Yeah. I didn't watch it because I'm like, no, that Rutger Hauer movie was disturbing enough.
He was in a movie that I hated called Identity with John Cusack and Ray Liotta, I think. And it was just one of the worst constructed movies I've ever seen. So,
what has John Cusack done anything worth a shit other than bitch on Twitter? I mean,
well, he did do a movie not too long ago based off a Stephen King movie about a guy staying in a haunted hotel.
1408.
Yeah, 1408. Wait a minute. Wasn't that quite a few years ago?
I don't know. I mean, again, the years are starting to roll together for me. So are people still watching that cool Fonzie guy? I mean, I don't remember.
And Rick will rocks.
Nah, I just don't.
Ugh. Yeah, John Cusack is still doing like at least one movie a year, it looks like.
I don't know. I haven't. Honestly, I don't think I've seen him in a movie since. Oh, God. That movie where it turns out everything that's playing out is in this guy's mind.
Yeah, that's Identity.
Oh, God. That's the movie?
That's the movie.
God, that movie sucked.
Rebecca De Mornay, yeah, it's yeah, and of course they reveal the twist with 20 minutes still remaining on the runtime, and I'm like, I don't care what happens now,
Yeah, it's like you destroyed the movie. Now I know.
Yeah, now I don't fucking care about any of these characters because they're not even real within the context of the story.
Let's see, the last movie I saw that he was in was Hot Tub Time Machine 2.
Oh wow! See, the one thing I wouldn't mind seeing him in is some sort of sequel to Grosse Pointe Blank, where him and Minnie Driver come back now as an older couple, and because if you've ever seen that movie, that was one of my favorite movies that he ever did. Because the movie, if you don't know what it's about a professional killer played by Cusack who ends up going to his 10-year high school reunion in Grosse Pointe, Michigan. His last name is Blank, hence Grosse Pointe Blank. That's the name of the movie. And it's a black comedy. It's got Dan Aykroyd in it. It's got a bunch of other people you'd recognize. And I enjoyed that movie quite a bit.
I loved Con Air.
Yeah, Con Air. Yeah, that's another one that was a fun '90s movie, but everybody says it's shit now.
Yeah, well, you know what? Armageddon is scientifically fucked up, but you know what? When did we start that much about that kind of stuff? It's like I just wanted to be entertained. I was entertained.
Yeah.
I don't need listen, I understand when you are passionate about something like a certain an IP is one thing. But if you have a certain area that you're very passionate in, yeah, you're going to notice all the flaws. So like every time I watch a movie about Marines, I notice all the like in the movie Rules for Engagement, I'm like, you don't have the ribbons in order. This person doesn't. I'm like,
Jarhead.
No, I'm sorry. I was looking through because we were talking about John Cusack. I was looking through his IMDb. And I agree with both of you guys about how much Identity sucked. But I was looking at the score, and Identity scores higher on the IMDb ratings than frickin' 16 Candles.
How is that possible?
Are you fucking shitting me?
16 Candles has a 7.0. Identity has a 7.3.
We'll say anything.
Who is really loud. But you know, Identity at least had some cool moments before they pissed all over the movie. Like when Gary Busey's character escapes confinement and then runs away from the hotel. The hotel is in the desert, right? At night, there's a storm in the coming, and he sees another settlement like a mile away, and he runs towards it. And then he gets there, and he's right, and it's actually the same place he just left. You know, that I thought that was nice and creepy and neat. And I'm like, oh, this is very interesting. There's something supernatural going on here, and then and they spoil it. It just,
and it's all in it's all in some guy's mind. I mean, talk about just like, oh, we're gonna pull a twist. Well, your twist sucked.
Well, they should have figured out a way to do the twist at the very end, at least.
Yeah,
so that you could enjoy the whole movie. But by spoiling it like half an hour before it ends, it's
you lose all investment.
Yeah, you're done. At that point, I would have walked out of the theater because I'm like, we're done. I literally, the only reason I finished movies, I'm like, fuck it, let me see what happens. You rented it, yeah.
Yeah, I rented it. I was just like, fuck it, let's see. But I didn't give a shit.
And you know the funny. Okay, so for those of you who haven't seen it, don't want to know, the spoiler is that everything that is taking place in the movie, where these people, these seemingly divergent people, are all in this desert motel during a thunderstorm, they're all personas of a maniac, and one of those personas is a serial murderer. So you're kind of trying to figure out which one it is. And Alfred Molina plays the guy's psychiatrist, and he knows how to bring each one of them out. And Cusack is the straight-laced persona, and and then he's the one who discovers what he is. He notices deep into the movie that the last name of every person in that motel is the name of a state. He's Nick Dakota. There's another, the Maine family is there. I don't remember if what the other ones were, but and then they think that Ray Liotta, or maybe Ray Liotta was the cop that had Jake Busey there. I think that he fights and kills Jake Busey in the mud, while it's raining during in the storm. But then it turns out that the actual serial killer was the little boy persona, and he kills the last persona at the end, and then takes over the bad guy's body completely. And it was heaped in multiple personality disorder lore and just structured not very well.
Yeah, if they had done that and left that to the very end, where we find out this was a multiple personality disorder, and that one personality was trying to kill the others at the very end, that would have been an amazing ending. Yeah. But they spoiled it too early.
Yeah. The trailer was neat. I mean, the trailer showed you all the great little pretty special effects shots and things about with the Desert Storm and all that kind of stuff. And you don't know the context of it but it looks like, Cusack is telling the story of what happened after the fact, and so you're wanting to find out what happened, if you watch the movie. And yeah, it was all about timing. that's the big issue there for me.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, it had a good premise, and
I think the reason they did that though was because wasn't that after M. Night Shyamalan and like The Sixth Sense and stuff?
Might have been.
I think they did the whole twist because they were trying either to be that or not to be that by whenever they really revealed the twist.
Well, it was already not that. It was sufficiently different from Sixth Sense or Unbreakable at the time. I mean, that movie came out after those two came out, but not before The Village.
I'm just meaning like how every movie that was a psychological thriller had to have this massive twist.
No, but the thing is, Mike, is this could have been a great twist if it had been at the very end, like the last few minutes of the movie.
Yeah.
That would have been the shocking revelation.
It's like, you remember it. No, I was going to say, sorry.
Why don't you guys talk at the same
time? Go ahead, Darren. Go ahead, Darren.
My bad. Okay, so if you ever seen the Twilight Zone episode, 7 characters or 5 characters in search of an exit. Okay, it's you got a military colonel, you got a clown, a hobo, a ballerina, and I can't remember what else was in there, and they're all trapped inside this round room that's white.
Yep,
they're trying to get out.
And
then of course at the twist ending is at the very, very end you find out that they're actually dolls inside a Christmas toy bin donation for charity kind of deal. And they don't know how they got there and everything, and so they were toys the whole time. And because of the magic of television and editing, you didn't know that until the very end. That's how this movie should have ended. But
exactly.
I don't think that they knew how to end it that way and still have the things that they wanted to have happen. Because the intended shocker at the end was that the little boy persona was the serial killer the whole time, the one you would least expect. And that's the ending they wanted to go with. So I don't think they realized what their shock ending should have been, and when to release it. Again, it's a mess. It's trying to do too many things at once.
Now I'm going to agree with Darren on that because I knew exactly the Twilight Zone episode he was talking about. The twist ending where it turns out they're all toys, was amazing writing.
It was acting. It was
according to the trivia on there. They said several endings were filmed in order to shroud the real conclusion in secrecy. So
they might have picked the wrong one then.
Yeah.
You don't reveal that kind of twist till the end. I mean, that would have been an amazing ending, but you ruined it when you put it 20 minutes, as Darren said, before the movie even finished. And it's like, okay, no. You should have had us all be there and then do the thing where, maybe fade out and have 5 or so minutes with the psychiatrist. And now you realize, oh, the little boy was the serial killer that he's been personified with. He's got multiple personalities. And now the part in his head has killed all of them. And now he's fully taken over. That would have been a great twist ending, but they did it too early. And that's what killed the movie.
Well, I wonder when they said they filmed several endings, I wonder if the whole the reason they did the twist early was because they didn't know who was going to be the killer persona.
Yeah, and that's the twist. Yeah, the twist ending was that the kid was the reveal of the killer persona, but you didn't even know that it was anything about personas. So I mean, that was the problem. I think they should have revealed. It should have been a different emphasized reveal. The
personas of the person killing off all these other multiple personalities, and this being in the mind of a serial killer, should have been left towards the last 5 minutes of the movie to give that shock value. But giving it 20 minutes in, you don't care about those characters anymore, like Darren said.
Yeah.
We're not
Yeah.
invested in them anymore because we know they're
Right.
not real.
They're not real within the context of the story.
Exactly.
That's the idea. Yeah, it's
Yeah.
of course they're not real. They're movie characters. We're talking about within the context of the story. So yeah,
Yeah, exactly. You're right.
It's so
But
goofy.
but if they'd done it at the end, it would have been like, oh, this is all in his mind. That would have made a more intriguing story and would have made, I think, more people want to watch it. But because they reveal that so early, it killed the movie, and it killed it for me, and it killed it for Darren.
Yeah.
I'll be honest with you. I know I watched the film, and when you guys talk about it, more and more is coming back to my memory. But it was such a blasé movie that I'd forgotten so much about it.
Yeah. I liked it. It was very atmospheric, very moody. They used the whole desert at night in a thunderstorm motif very well, I thought. But
yeah,
it's but then go ahead.
Darren, everything about that movie was pretty good. They just revealed the twist too early.
Yeah.
That's
you're talking about Armageddon earlier. My only real problem with Armageddon was the title at the time, especially, was not appropriate for that movie. Armageddon refers to the location where the final battle between good and evil takes place. It has nothing to do with the actual end of the world, but because people use it and don't understand what it really means, it's become a word that means end times.
Colloquially, it just means the end of the world.
Oh God, you guys! I don't even want to get into the rapture. I've got to. You know, I'm religious.
Nobody was talking about the rapture, but I mean,
no.
Were you here earlier? Because
let me finish.
we were talking about these earlier because I found a bunch of these at my stores.
Yeah, let me finish what I'm saying.
That's why we were talking
I've got family members I can't talk to. Right. Because that's all they talk about is the freaking rapture. And I'm like, oh my God, shut the fuck up. I'm like, I know I'm religious, but if the rapture comes and I believe in it, who the fuck cares? I don't get a choice in it. Shut the fuck up.
Well, see, I think that's why NB, this thing is all about what to do in case you miss the rapture. That's what this thing.
Well, don't worry, NB. Nobody brought it up but you, so. You're safe.
As I said, Darren, we did talk about it a little bit this morning because I found 3 of those at one of my stores. Again, it was either yesterday or the day before. I can't remember.
Yeah.
But I find stuff like that all the time, and it's always annoying when I don't care if it's one of the PETA pamphlets or the animal abuse pamphlets or the religious things or vegan shit. I don't want to see the stuff in my book or magazine section.
Is that
you just don't like pamphlets.
Is that
maybe that's it? I just don't.
If it was a hardcover, you'd be fine with it. Yeah.
Mike, is this a California thing where they just walk into a store, put pamphlets and books and magazines and shit?
No, it's not a California thing. It's a all across the nation thing because I talked to reps from here to South Carolina, and they all find them.
Are you fucking kidding people? Oh God!
And I went to. Hold on. I'll be right back. I might have another one that you guys might find funny, so I'll be right back.
So I had, when I went to Welcome to Rockville with my mother and her husband, I came across this. They're always out there. There's these really, hiccup. There's these religious people that come out and talk about rock and metal are Satan's music. Well, I got into a conversation with one of them once, and I said, "What's wrong with this music?" Well, it's Satan's music. I'm like, I'm a Christian. I'm a Catholic. Are you saying I'm doing something wrong? He goes, yes. I was like, okay, explain to me how. He goes, well,
there's a lot of,
no. The thing is, I will question people and make them uncomfortable.
Right.
And this guy couldn't answer my fucking question because I'm like, do you understand a lot of this music that we're listening to is just about people's personal lives and what they've gone through? And a lot of it's...
Well, it isn't just that. There's a lot of Satan's music is also in like what do they call that? Yacht rock now?
I don't know. I don't know what
light FM music. I mean,
Here's the one I think you guys will find funny.
Lennon. Hold on, John Lennon's "Imagine" is an anti-religious song, and therefore probably could be classified as the devil's music too. And it's not metal at all, or rock. So I mean, it's all about the lyrics and what it's trying to say. But they're trying to tell you that, well, no, it's the devil uses drums, guitars, and no, I don't think so.
So just you think it's not just Christians that do it too.
Right.
What is
I
that?
hate all of them.
What is that?
This is a book of surahs in Arabic.
I don't even know what the hell it is. Sorry, I'm not Muslim.
I know, but I'm just saying, I'm not. So when I complain about it being religious, it's not just Christians. Other sects and religions do the same fucking thing, and I take them all out. Some of them I collect.
Oh, God, it drove me nuts. I got into a discussion with the guy, and he couldn't answer my freaking question. I'm like, listen.
Yeah, you've said that already. Yeah.
No, but I mean, it just cracked me up because I gave examples. I'm like, do you know about this person's life? Do you know about what they've been through, or are you just generalizing?
Yeah, they don't stand up to scrutiny. I understand. The thing that a lot of Christians forget about is I think it's in 1 Corinthians where Paul is saying, what do we care about what non-believers do, right? What we're supposed to do is police our own. And if you're trying to convert people, first of all, really the only real way to convert somebody is to let God do it. All you have to do is set a good example. They try to, and they piques their interest. They want to know why or how you're handling things the way you're handling it. What do you think about? What are the things that you tell yourself inside? And then they come to your faith on their own volition, right? There's really no other way you can effectively do it. And
you cannot force people into a belief, Darren.
No, you can't. No,
okay, for example.
But at the same time, we can't be holding non-believers to the standards of believers as well. So, Quentin Tarantino makes a movie with a lot of F-bombs in it. We're not going to sit here, he's the evil man for doing that. And so he doesn't profess to be a Christian, so don't worry about it. Worry about what somebody in your church might be, what their language might be, or something of that nature, because he's decided to be in your group, and that's in the Bible. That's how we're supposed to behave. And a lot of problems that Christianity in particular has had over the years of history would be solved if more did that, if more people kept that context.
Yeah, exactly. It's not about pushing your faith. It's about expressing how you're. See, the problem is, and this is one of the reasons I go to church, even though I'm a Catholic, it's not about pushing your faith. It's simply about just
that MB, and has nothing to do with you. One of the pamphlets I was showing earlier. This one.
Yeah. Yeah.
The whole point of this thing is basically saying the only way a Catholic can go to heaven is by not being a Catholic anymore. That's what that pamphlet's about. That's why I laugh.
Yeah, that sounds almost like it could be an evangelical pamphlet trying to get people away from the Catholic Church. Yeah.
Anyway, but what I'm saying is my church is in my heart. I don't need to go to a building to have my faith or anything like that. And also, hold on a second, Mike, let me finish real quick, please. And thank you. No, I just want to say this. I talk about my faith, but I don't push my faith. And that's the point. The problem is pushing faith is no different than pushing any other agenda in somebody's face. You don't push an agenda to get people to come to your way. You
Peter 3:8-9.
What was that, Elihu?
Peter 3:8-9.
You basically You tell them about it, and if it's inspiring, maybe they come over. Maybe they don't.
Right. But
That's it.
again, you take, for example, let's say, okay, let's take prohibition as a situation here.
Well, hold on.
A lot of
before you get into that,
right.
I want to do my joke real quick
Okay.
because as a official minister for the United Church of Bacon, I just want to say that my religion is also in my heart, hardening my arteries because bacon is great.
I would.
All hail the swine.
Okay, that's what I wanted to say. Because when you said it was in your heart, I was like, it's in my heart, hardening my arteries.
Yeah. So, for example, a lot of Christian groups, along with a lot of women's suffrage groups, went pushed to get alcohol made illegal in the United States, and the proper Christian response to that should have been, it doesn't affect us. We don't drink it anyway. So but you have these groups that want to forcibly change the laws of a country over to match their religious laws, and again, other faiths do that, but Corinthians tells us that we should not be doing that. That we just live the way we're supposed to live, and so for example, I don't want to use the more controversial topics, but let's just say in a prohibition situation, since we're not supposed to be drinking to drunkenness anyway, it doesn't matter to us whether it's legal or not. We shouldn't be pushing that issue. Now, if they were trying to make it mandatory or something, where where like the only thing we can drink is wine, or I mean, that's a fantasy. First of all, I don't even know how that would work. But if the law was trying to force us to do something that's a violation of Scripture, different story. But just because it exists in the society for non-believers to do doesn't mean we have to change that law, because we have the ability to not partake.
Yeah, as a non-believer, I don't care what religion it is. I don't want you guys trying to legislate your religion into my life.
Right.
I don't care what
one of the
religion or
things
sect it
about
is.
actually, one of the things about prohibition actually didn't have to do with religion. It had to do with the massive consumption of alcoholism from men who came back from World War One.
Yeah. Well, no, I mean, it was tied to the women's suffrage movement as well, because it was accomplished with three groups uniting, and these were three groups that normally wouldn't have a lot to do with each other, but they, for some reason, wind was blowing the right way, and they all decided to team up on this one issue. And it was women's suffrage. It was some Christian groups, not all, and then it was also people who were worried about the health nuts, essentially. The women's suffrage group was interested in this because the story, of course, is that back then, the guy would come, would get done with work, go to the bar, get loaded up, and then go home and then do whatever he wanted. And it was usually something not very nice with his wife, right? Abuse his wife, that kind of thing. They looked at it as a way of stopping spousal abuse. And so that's why they were invested in it. And prohibition lasted what, 10, 12
14
years?
years, I think.
14 years, yeah.
I think
so.
14 years or so.
Yeah, and all they really did.
Look it up. Here,
all they really did was make people want to drink even more.
Actually, I checked the historical aspects. We actually, during the Great Experiment, as they called it, we actually toned down.
Well, it was actually easier to get a drink in some cities during Prohibition than it was immediately following it, when suddenly things were taxed, and there was ordinances and licenses and fees and things applied to the whole thing. You had cab drivers who were offering like a swig of whiskey or something to somebody who was riding with them for a couple of quarters or whatever. I mean,
The anti-masturbation food.
everybody was selling hooch on the side secretly. It seemed.
Well, that's how moonshining in NASCAR came about.
Yep.
Yeah. So I mean, it's kind of funny. You filed this under the Department of Unintended Consequences.
Take the song Cumberland Road. I mean, that's all about that stuff.
Yeah.
I mean, one of the things why Prohibition was going so well was because these guys knew how to strip their vehicles down, make them faster, lighter, and outrun the cops.
Yeah, Ken Burns made a really good documentary about Prohibition, and I saw it on Netflix years ago when I had Netflix. And one of the things that they talk about was the things that led up to Prohibition, right? Where they made the selling of beer illegal in bars. You could own it, you just you could have it, you just couldn't sell it. So what bars would do is they would sell you let's say instead of selling you a pitcher of beer, they'd sell you a bowl of peanuts or crackers, saltines, that happens to come with a complimentary pitcher of beer. And because that's what markets will do to adapt to ridiculous legislation. I just thought that was funny.
Okay, one, I think this is kind of funny. Well, because I was looking up what they called the church loophole during Prohibition about sacramental wine. Because during Prohibition, sacramental wine sales increased 700%.
You think?
And of course, on the website about this called the Tasting Table, on the article about it at the time, 2 of the ads were for Coors beer.
Well, I did check it out. So it went from 1919 and was repealed in 33. So yeah, 14 years.
Yeah, I remember the movie, the Peter Jackson King Kong movie. I remember that when they left New York on their voyage, it was still illegal, but when they came back, it was now legal. And there was a little detail in the production that I thought was kind of neat. It kind of gives you the idea of when this was supposed to take place. So right around the time that Prohibition ended, I thought that was kind of a funny thing.
Oh yeah.
All right. Well, we have been going on for 2 hours. I'm not working today, but I am hoping to post some more stuff to the eBay store. So if you're not on Twitter, I'll be posting at least 1 or 2 of the items that I post to Twitter just to show off. Because I've been trying to do that more to rack up sales. But anything you guys want to add before I end the stream?
Buy from the SD Game Swap.
Always remember.
I want to see Kamala Harris debate Donald Trump. I so want to see this.
So do
always
I.
remember to wipe front to back, especially you ladies.
There you go.
With that, with everything that's been going on this week, I think we could do a little bit of sunshine. How about you guys?
Yeah.
You are my sunshine, my only sunshine. You make me happy when skies are gray. You'll never know, dear, how much I love you. Please don't take my sunshine away. You are my sunshine, my only sunshine. You make me happy when skies are gray.
You'll never know, dear,
How much I love you. Please don't take my sunshine away.
And I have to play one of those videos because it was pointed out to me that rarely do we actually have the Vile Child on here. So always got to play one of those. So it does still make sense with the theme song. All right. I'll catch you guys later. So, bye, folks.
Later, weirdos.
Bye, Bob.